Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of voice of radio. And today, while I was on a train, Pokemon went and revealed the new League Battle Deck. And look, I have said many good things about League Battle Decks over the years. I have described them as the best products Pokemon have ever made. I have been effusive in my praise of League Battle Decks. They are brilliant and awesome and wonderful, and I love them. Pokemon just went and upped their game with the newest League Battle Deck, which is Charizard Pidgeot. And I'm just going to tell you right at the outset here, and I'm going to go into detail and explain why, don't get me wrong. But just at the start here, I'm going to tell you, this is the best sealed deck, the best starter deck, the best, however you want to phrase it, Pokemon have ever made. And honestly, you know at this stage, and I've got my other channel, Wassy Plays, where I cover other card games, this might be the best sealed deck that any company have ever made. And I don't say that lightly. What Pokemon have gone and done is a couple of things. Firstly, they've gone and given us one of the best decks, which is going to remain one of the best decks, for $30. I should say these are confirmed to be coming out, or this is confirmed to be coming out on the 15th of November for $30. $29.99. Kind of ridiculous. The other thing they've gone and done is they've gone and given us Prime Catcher in the deck. This is Pokemon's way, and I don't know if it actually is, but it kind of seems like it, of going, oh, Prime Catcher's expensive on the secondary market, is it? Yeah, be a shame if somebody went and put it in a sealed deck for $30. Honestly, it's kind of worth buying this just for Prime Catcher. Like, if we go on to TCG Player right now, very shortly after this went and got revealed, and we go and have a look at Prime Catcher, it's like a $30 card on its own, which is wonderful. It's not wonderful that it's $30, but it's wonderful that it's $30 and it's just being included in this pack. I love it. Like, according to TCG Player right now, the market price is like $25, but honestly, there's been plenty that have sold for, you know, the lowest one available on TCG Player right now is just over $30. This is wonderful, because this basically means that anybody that really wants to pay $30 for a Prime Catcher can just go and buy this deck, which means nobody can go and charge $30 for a Prime Catcher. So even if you don't want to buy this deck to get Prime Catcher, that's fine. It just means that the price of this is going to fall. And that's ridiculous and brilliant and wonderful. And let's face it, you don't have to play Prime Catcher in Charizard decks right now. It is not a hard and fast rule that Charizard decks play Prime Catcher. There are plenty of viable ace specs that can be used in Charizard decks. Unfair Stamp is a popular option, and we do see Heroes Cape coming in a little bit, although that one is a little bit rarer. We've seen it with Maximum Belt in the past. And don't get me wrong, Prime Catcher is probably just the most popular ace spec in the deck, but Pokemon could easily have made this deck and given us a different ace spec. The fact that they've chosen to give us Prime Catcher is brilliant, and I love this. It just shows how much attention Pokemon are paying. And let's be clear, right? These decks, these League Battle decks, are Pokemon giving us genuine competitive decks for $30. And they've done it before, and they're now doing it again with Charizard. This is one of the best decks around. And to be clear, right, if we look into the future and we look at upcoming metagames over in Japan, expect Charizard to remain a good deck into the future. Like, over in Japan right now, they are in the Stellar Crown meta. We're not going to be there for a couple of weeks, but Japan are already there. Here is a snapshot from PokeCart_book showing the metagame a couple of days ago. Or basically last week. It's last week's metagame. Oh, look, Tier 1 deck, Charizard. It's not just been one of the best decks since it came out. It will be one of the best decks moving forward for a while. And they've gone and given us that with the best ace spec in. And to be clear, it's not just about the ace spec. The rest of the deck's not too shabby either. 3 copies of Charizard EX, 2 copies of Pidgeot EX. That's 5 EXs and an ace spec in a $30 deck. Now, to be fair, that's probably about what you need. Honestly, generally speaking, Pidgeot is played as a 2 of, and Charizard is played as a 2 or a 3 of, hedging to 3. 3 is a little more popular than 2, but plenty of people do play it with 3. So you don't even need to go out and buy any more EXs, really. Now, you might need to go and buy a Luminion V and a Radiant Charizard, because they generally do see playing, to be fair, they are really good cards in the deck. Luminion goes and gets you your supporter card, and Radiant Charizard is your Radiant Pokemon who, when your opponent's taken a few prizes, does big damage for like 1 energy. Its energy cost is reduced by 1 for each prize card your opponent has taken. It's a really good card. So you'll probably need to pick these up, neither of which are terribly expensive. And then you're pretty much good to go. For what it's worth, in the deck, they give you the Charizard line, they give you the Pidgeot line, and they also give you 3 copies of Moltres. This is basically Pokemon saying, look, we can't give you everything. There are some limits to what we can do. So, sorry about that. I'm assuming this is the Moltres from 151, because it's by far the most recent Moltres. It's not actually shown on the back of the pack which Moltres it is. I'm assuming it's the one from 151. It's not the one from Pokemon Go, because that boosts basic fire Pokemon to damage, and there's no point putting that in the deck. And I suppose it could be the one from Brilliant Stars. Does 90 for a single energy if there's damage counters on it. That would make sense. But that strikes me as a bit old. That strikes me as a card which is kind of older than cards they really want to be putting in the deck. I'm not saying it's not that one, but I'm saying I would be a little bit surprised if it was. Overall, Pokemon line here. Love it. Brilliant. Huge fan. Getting the free Charizard, the 2 Pidgeot, and especially the Prime Catcher. Yeah, that's very nice. But of course, it's not just that. There's a bunch of trainer cards, etc. in here as well. And you probably won't be terribly surprised to learn that these ones are actually pretty good as well. So, what are we actually getting here? Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's stuff like Arven, for instance. Great supporter card, sees a huge amount of play in a huge amount of decks. It gets you a tool and an item card, and oh look, there's a couple copies in here. We've got stuff like a playset of Buddy Buddy Poffin, which goes and gets your basic Pokemon. It is a phenomenal card. You want to be playing a playset of Buddy Buddy Poffin. If you are playing Charizard, oh look, you get yourself a playset here of Buddy Buddy Poffin. We've got ourselves a full suite of Rare Candy and a full suite of Ultra Ball here. Because of course, you're going to be playing Ultra Ball to go and touch out your Pokemon, and Rare Candy, honestly, pretty important for the whole evolving up thing. There's a couple copies of Professor's Research Sada, because, you know, that's a good supporter card. And then a couple copies of Boss's Orders Getsis, because everybody plays Gutsting. So, yeah, you kind of need a couple of them as well. We've even got things like 2 Technical Machine Evolution. They are the ones that let you go and search for a Pokemon that evolves from your Pokemon and evolve it up. It's your turn 1 play in this deck. It's what you do on turn 1, because you can't really do very much else. So you go, well, you know what, let's just do this, and then go and search for my Pokemon, and then I'm ready to go next turn. There's even one Defiance Band, which does an extra 30 damage if you're behind on prizes, but bearing in mind, you're often going to be behind on prizes. You're a stage 2 deck, and remember, Charizard gets more powerful the more prize cards your opponent has taken. So going behind on prizes isn't that big a deal, and this is a card we generally do tend to see seeing a whole bunch of play. And being a deck that doesn't mind going down on prizes and coming back, I&O becomes a really good shout. Oh look, there's a full 4 copies of I&O as well. This is a phenomenal deck. Pokemon have absolutely knocked it out the park. Yeah, I'm sure you'll need to make a few little changes like I've said. Adding in a Radiant Pokemon and adding in Luminion, probably going to be something you're going to want to do sooner rather than later. We know that nowadays a lot of these Charizard decks tend to play a bit of a Dust Noir line, so you may wish to go ahead and play some of that. But these are minor quibbles, and these are things that are honestly not going to be particularly difficult or expensive to do. Pokemon have just gone and given us one of the very best decks in the game and all the expensive cards you're going to need from it for $30. And look, I've been singing the praises of these League Challenge decks since they came out because it's one of the best ideas Pokemon ever had. This just happens to be the best one that they've done. It's no surprise at this stage. We all know there are people at the Pokemon Company who blatantly play the game, who are paying attention to the metagame very, very closely, and that's how we end up with products like this. So shout out to the people at the Pokemon Company who are developing these products because they are clearly paying attention and they are clearly knocking it completely out of the park. But I've told you all I need to about this now. If it sounds like I'm gushing about this, yeah, I am. It's ridiculous. It's one of the coolest things Pokemon have ever done. But I've told you all about it now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me if you're picking this up. Tell me how great you think this is. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching PTCG Radio.